Mando Alas and Michelle Ranieri from ALM. Wanted to welcome you to our weekly LaunchPad. Thank you for joining us. Definitely seems that some of our attendees are off today. The holidays are still kicking in, and I can definitely understand that. So to the ones that are here today, definitely thank you for joining us. We'll be recording this webinar anyways, just to kind of if you want to go back to it, or if you have any questions or anything, you can always go back to the webinar. It's going to be recorded. With me today, like I mentioned, is Michelle. Amalia is basically off this week. She'll probably be joining us next week, Tuesday for sure. But Michelle's with me today.
Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and welcome back.
Excellent. Yeah, again, hopefully everybody enjoyed time with their family in the past few days. And we were off yesterday here in Canada as our national holiday. And I mean, Michelle will talk a little bit more about our next our dates, or how we're going to be working our working hours for the next few days. Um, Definitely a little bit weird weather we were experiencing here in Toronto. Just to kind of put it in a side note, we had a bit of a crazy snowstorm yesterday, or semi-snowstorm, and then this morning, and that was up to about what 11 or 12, and then this morning everything is melting. We were getting some rain, so yeah, I'm pretty sure we're not the ones. I know some parts of the U.S. are also being affected. But anyhow, let's get moving. Today's webinar, it's a little bit different than our usual standard webinar. To be honest with you, there wasn't a lot of news items that I wanted to share with you. Obviously, everybody's still kind of going through the holiday motion. I'm pretty sure next week will be more packed with news. However, what I did was I kind of looked at a couple of excellent articles on what you should be looking out in 2016, and we do have one that mainly focuses on planning, strategy, and that's very important. And we also, as a matter of fact, have actually added a case study. We call it the Digital Marketing Blueprint, which is one of our high-end consulting solutions, which we've been working with with a couple of clients. So I will be sharing this with with you today. If you have attended any of the other webinars I've shared with Toronto head office, home office, please do. Please do bear with me, but I'm pretty sure you'll get a lot of exciting information from there as well. So we'll dive into that a little bit more in depth. So to begin, again, wanted to see here. Yep, thank you, Howard. Happy holidays to everybody again, and look forward to 2016. So what I wanted to share with you is this interesting article that was featured on Search Engine Land, which talked a little bit about planning for SEO success in 2016. And basically one of the key highlights of this article was the fact that a recent study by Smart Insights, it's a digital marketing a consulting company. They do a lot of consulting. As a matter of fact, we will be talking about their methodology, the RACE methodology today. But this company found that in their study that 50% of businesses doing digital marketing had no formal or no form of digital marketing plan or strategy. They were doing digital marketing, yet there was no clear defined objectives or goals. And this is across the board. We're looking at small to mid-sized to even sometimes large-sized organizations that we've been working specifically in 2015 ourselves. We've noticed that they don't have a plan or a strategy, right? A lot of the companies, and even SMB companies, small medium-sized businesses, sorry, they want to focus a lot on tactical. And when you're looking at the budgets that SMBs allocate to digital marketing, they're not big budgets, they're micro budgets, and those are the ones that require solid ROI. Because if you're working with a small medium-sized business owner, they're always looking at the budget, they're looking at the results on their advertising and marketing. And you know what, they're some of the worst offenders when it comes to cutting corners, which leads to weak results in search marketing. And I truly believe that this is an area where consultants can excel, can show a competitive edge, by providing best business practices, add value to their clients, where you're not just selling, SEO or PPC or email marketing, where you're focusing not just on tactical, but more on strategy. Now, that doesn't mean that when you are approaching a new client that you are right away selling a strategy solution. It may be that you have to educate them and start maybe the first 3 months with a pilot campaign that's tactically driven. But after 3 months, where you've gained the confidence of your new client, and you can see that there's a need for an actual marketing, a digital marketing plan or strategy, that's where you can, it creates an opportunity for the consultant, the WSI consultant, to potentially upsell or cross-sell different solutions. And one of them could potentially be an overall strategy, right? In many situations, this can happen. For example, the small, medium-sized business owner shares with you, confides in you that they want to expand to open up a new location, expand the products and services they are currently offering, whether it be B2B or B2C. You know, the, sometimes it's not just about doing a tactical, straightforward SEO campaign, but more about doing an actual digital marketing plan, right? And that's very, very important. It's an opportunity for ICs. I see it as well. Whether it be small, medium size, or a large organization, you definitely have to have a digital marketing plan in place. It's just a matter of how to approach the sales component, how to educate your client. So it definitely, it's not a push sale, but more of a pull sale where they're coming to you because they understand that you are a consultant, that you can help them develop a strategy, a plan that can generate solid ROI, as well as obviously something that's replicable for the next year. A bottom line foundation, right? And one of the things, if anybody read the book The Art of War by Sun Tzu, you'll notice that one of his famous quotes out there is, strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. So definitely, these go hand in hand, right? You have to have strategy and tactics. And if you don't have strategy in them, I can tell you that many of the small, medium-sized business owners suffer from this. This is why they keep changing, suppliers of digital marketing solutions, because they don't. They just, what? It's just another one. Bring the next one. Bring the next one. It's just a revolving door, because and they can continue to lose money. It hurts their business more because there's no strategy. So this is the opportunity again for the WSI consultant in 2016. Whenever you're looking at an existing client or a new client, keep that in place, right? Keep that in the back of your head. How can I approach my new client or my existing client in providing them with a digital marketing plan, a strategy for their 2016 marketing plan, or for their 2016 plan of growth, right? Business plan. One of the models that I wanted to share with you, something that we have been working with for quite a few years ourselves at ALM, working with the larger organizations, and in 2016, our plan is that hopefully we can develop a model for SMBs. But that when we have the opportunity to work with larger organizations, we typically implement there are the various different types of methodologies, if you will, that deal with strategy. And we follow this one called RACE, which is a model that can definitely be utilized. It's a model actually developed by Smart Insights, and they call it the RACE planning system for digital marketing. Now, RACE stands for Reach, Act, Convert, Engage. The reach stage is where we call the buyer stage, so that's the exploration, and there's a number of tactics that have to go with it. Then we have act, where you're looking at decision making, where you in convert, purchase, and engage, advocacy. So I'm going to take a little bit of a deeper look into these four areas. And again, if you have any questions or anything about Smart Insights, let us know. We're very associated with their consultants and writers, so definitely can provide you with general information about them. But very good model that we've used very successfully in implementing it with some of our biggest clients. And also, when we're working with SMBs, we always try to guide the IC to go back to these areas, right? Now, it doesn't mean that you have to implement all of the methodology at once, but educate your client on adapting this methodology to their digital marketing strategy. Otherwise, you know what, they can tend to be all tactical, and tactics without strategy can definitely lead to defeat or loss of opportunities. Now, before I begin with the actual race methodology, there is a, let's call it the planning stage. And as I will go over our case study today, at the planning stage, we definitely take a look at opportunities, strategy, and actions. We define customer is things like, for example, define customer personas or redefine or review customer personas. We also look at the marketplace and competition, right? We also analyze historical data. And when you're looking at historical data, it doesn't necessarily have to be all digital marketing data. You can also grab some key KPIs, key performance indicators, or benchmarks and goals, but looking at your clients' traditional marketing data, historical data, right? So that's important. And basically, we also craft an online value proposition. So that's all at the top level planning stage. Then we begin by applying the different areas of reach. So what's reach again? What I mentioned to you, reach is the first one is exploration. To reach our customers, we must ensure visibility across search engines, social media, sorry, cut off there, and relevant blogs and content hubs. Now, one of the key things about planning, if you kind of are familiar with our lead generation machine model or methodology in regards to digital marketing, we showcased that at the global convention this year. One of the first components is the blueprint, right? And the blueprint is very important. The blueprint is, your map, right? So the planning stage and the race methodology go in hand with the blueprint, right? That's the foundation. That's in essence your map, your guide, right? So when you look at reach, being a component of that, you want to make sure that you're using the right tactic, right? And reach is brand awareness covering paid, so paid search, paid social, earned and owned media, right? So when you're looking at earned, you're looking more a bit of uh, uh, um, you know earning a link building strategy, etc., where you're kind of sharing back and forth link building or own media, where basically you're looking at your social media properties, your own media properties, right? How do you portray your brand in your website, in your social media properties? Earn is something that you earn through SEO authority, for example. So you're looking at more of SEO. Your how people see your brand online, right? So you got to look at reach as a key component in the exploration phase. How potential customers, how your target audience views your brand online. So we reach customers on search engines using obviously SEO and PPC, right? Those are some of the tactics. There are other tactics, right, that can be used. Depending on clients' budgets, there are various different tactics. It's just not SEO, PPC, social media. You can do, some level of very, very white label affiliate marketing. You can also do content syndication, media buying, uh, video advertising. So many things that you can do, right? But these are the main ones that you tend to look at: SEO and PPC. Act, you're looking at now in the buyer stage at the decision making stage. And act is lead generation, is the process of persuading site visitors to take the next step and get in touch. Very, very, very important, because sometimes customers or your clients, sorry, have the perception, or they perceive that by buying into a SEO and PPC, that automatically would generate leads. Hold on a second. Let's go back. Reach is about reaching your target audience. It's brand awareness. So how do we actually create those touch points, right? How do we get our brand out there, our message out there? Is using SEO and PPC, for example, or even social media. But then once they see us, we pull them, right? We pull them into our website, for example, or a call to action in a landing page, or on a or social media property like Facebook. And what do we do there? Well, we begin the lead generation process, the decision making process, and that's where we persuade site visitors to take the next step and get in touch. So that call to action is important. And you know what? Today, there are many websites that even when ICs, consultants bring them to us, you can totally see that the website is beautiful, but there are no call to actions. There's no next step in get in touch with us action. So this may include, soft goals like downloading a white paper or signing up to a newsletter or sign up to a free consultation, a free appointment. I mean, a strong call to action, right? Most visitors to businesses websites don't interact, so it's important to clearly review why this is. So again, what I was saying earlier, there are many websites out there, beautiful websites, but the reason they don't have conversions, the reasons they don't convert is because they don't have strong call to action. So it's very important that in this process, in this stage, you look at these things, you analyze these things, you analyze your customers, your client's website, your client's social media properties. How can you enhance that? How can you make that interaction stronger? So then you can start utilizing Google Analytics, right, to start tracking goals, right? So having a set of goals is important, but you also have to have the right mechanism to track those goals, and that goes hand in hand with your client's key performance indicators, right? What does it want to, what they want to achieve? Is it more sales? Is it more leads? That has to be clearly defined. Is it people signing up to the newsletter? What is it that is very key to them? Just to give you an example, right now we're working with a client that basically at this stage their goal, the way they walk their targeted audience, or let's say their customers to that journey, conversion journey, to become customers. So from visitors to customers, they actually, the first thing they want to do is they want to sign them up to their newsletter, and then they begin. So they don't even really, they kind of rather just take their email address and then start nurturing them that way, right? Others, they offer free. We have another one that we're working in right now with paid search, a company that provide also digital services, and they have this content writing tool, and all they want us to do is, download the free app, right? We want people to download the free app or get their free content writing report. So again, you have to define this with your client. If it's a plumber, okay, for example, it's probably going to be calls, right? I want people to call me, or I want people to fill out a form. If it's a dentist, I want people to call me, or generate more appointments, etc. If it's obviously a store, you get the point. You want to get conversions. The next stage is convert. So after we have, so let's go back, is reach, act, getting the prospect to act, and then obviously the next is to convert, to purchase. So this is the important interaction. Obviously, it's the primary goal is to to kind of turn that qualified prospect into a qualified sales lead, and that's definitely where your prospect becomes a customer, becomes a sale, and that's where they start the journey. Now there are some businesses where it's a one-time sale, but you know what? You can always have repeat sales, right? But then you will find the odd customer that you're dealing with that, they don't get a lot of repeat sales. So for them, really, this is where everything stops, at the conversion stage. But for the majority of your customers, this is where it begins, because that's where, yes, they've purchased from you once, they've become your client, your customer. If you are, for example, in the medical field, a dentist or a doctor, they become your patient. You want them to continue to come back, right? If your client is a lawyer, okay, again, you want that client to use your law services again, right? And now the time span from them buying again from you, if you're a lawyer, is longer, just like in real estate. But they can also engage with you, right? And that's the last stage, engage, advocacy, right? So we want to build on the initial conversion and build long-term relationships with our customers. And then again, we want to sell other services. We want to retain that customer over the long term. We want to keep that customer happy and maximize the lifetime value of that customer. And that's very key, very important. And if you're able to educate your client and really make them understand this sense, they will see you totally different than just a provider of just solutions, but more of a partner, somebody that really cares about their business, right? And that's why you kind of go to the whole aspect of becoming a trusted advisor in digital marketing solutions, right? So we also want to drive, this is very important, as I mentioned, we also want to drive advocacy and ensure our happy customers become part of our marketing arsenal through reviews, social shares, and referral. So if your existing client, your business client is a law firm, and or a real estate agent, and typically, once somebody uses their services, the next time they'll use them will be for another year or years to come, right? Depending on the type of services. If you buy a house, you only buy a house, sometimes even once in a lifetime. But the other way you can gain value from that one lead that you sold them, or you were able to assist them in buying a house, is by getting them to become your advocates, right? By getting those happy customers to become part of your marketing arsenal through reviews, social shares, and referrals. So as you can see, the RACE methodology really looks at all of this, all of these components, right? And again, very important. It's a very straightforward, simple methodology, but very important that as you move into 2016, you want to plan for success, not just for SEO, but for digital marketing, period, right? And that's going to allow you also as a consultant to retain that customer, right? So definitely very important. I wanted to share this article with well, it's an article, but also a methodology with you today to kind of have a look at it. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is in terms of PPC, right? Um, um, uh, you know, Looking at some of the things that have happened in the last year, here are three PPC trends that you definitely want to make sure that you're using if you're managing your own PPC campaigns, or or you're working with the production team to make sure these things do happen. Right? Don't assume that the production teams know everything. Sometimes, you know what, you do have to get a little bit involved, use a little bit of your consultancy and your expertise to somewhat guide top level guidance, or at least ask the questions, right? So one of the key things that was we noticed a huge use in 2016 was what they call manual ad extensions. So your ad messaging strategy totally changed in this last year, specifically because in the past all you needed was 95 characters. You needed a title, description, call to action, and you were pretty much done. Your Google AdWords or your Bing ads, right? Yeah, they were very, very straightforward text ads, if you will. But you know, earlier, well, actually around 2014, in late 2014, 2015, we saw that people started using more of manual extensions to the level where now your ads totally look different than before, right? So now you have your title, right? You have your obviously your call to action URL. You have additional text-based call to action, and you can start having your description, right? And now you can have these manual extensions, right? So some of these could be location extensions, right? Some of you can actually go to different landing pages on your website, right? Or pages in your website, site links, what they call site link extensions, right? In this case scenario, for example, for this personal injury lawyer, you can see that they wanted to focus a lot on the free consultation. So throughout the ad, it allowed them to kind of hone into that message, right? No fees, call today for a free consultation, contact for a free consultation. So kind of really, really allows this law firm to just do a more complete message, ad message in their text ads, right? In this other one, which is more of a home restoration business, you can see that their focus was mainly the fact that they wanted to showcase that they were FEMA or FEMA compliant. So again, in their ad, not only do they have that component on their uh, title and description, but they were also able to add site links to showcase that. So again, site links are additional tools that should be used. So these ad extensions, for example, are additional tools that you should be using to highlight key aspects of the business, including features, benefits, and differentiators of a company. So Google has allowed that to happen. Okay, and I've actually, if you just give me a quick second here, I've actually added the link. So I'm just gonna See if I can pull the link and share with everybody. There's actually, if you are not, if you don't have experience with site links, it's very important to look into it. 1 second. Okay, so I've added this into the link. I've added the link to the chat box, and definitely you can look at how this works. Google definitely does an amazing job in even showing you video how site links work. So to anybody that's still a little bit iffy about site links, feel free to go to that website address and learn more. The other component that you have to kind of take a look at that's very important and that you should definitely be educating your clients to look at is video ads. And it's again another paid search tactic that shouldn't be ignored. It doesn't mean that your client has to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on video ads, but they should perhaps allocate some of the budget into two ads to create two ads a year, right? Or at least one ad to test it out, because one of the things that came out of the 20 I would say 2014 2015 analysis was that the average cost per click obviously, when you were looking at items at cost per click in video ads was very, very, very low compared to your CPC in standard AdWords, right? So I've kind of shared some of the ads, the AdWords cost per clicks in 2014, and also Yahoo and Bing. But Ruth Porat, who is the CFO of Google, when Ruth came out with their last year's financial projections, and also looking at where Google was headed, and also kind of share with their shareholders where Google stand. One of the key things that she mentioned was that cost per click pricing on YouTube for TrueView ads, as the users choose not to skip, is lower than on cost per click pricing on desktop and mobile. But YouTube True ads represented a larger percentage of our overall clicks, so it had a greater impact on CPCs. So as you can see, more and more people are definitely clicking on video ads while they are browsing through videos, or looking at YouTube, right? So again, putting a video strategy in 2016 for your client, it's a must. Okay, moving forward to the next slide. The other element that we should be looking at is remarketing. And in remarketing, you want to look at what they call lists for search ads, remarketing lists for search ads, which is another strategy that you should be looking at. And in this case, you want to make sure that these are used effectively. Now, remarketing lists for search ads, they're not. It's not a new trend. Actually, these were actually launched in 2012, but we've seen that in 20, or at least in this case, in 2015 to 2016, the use of it has increased definitely. And I actually added the article, sorry, the link to AdWords Blogspot to learn more about remarketing. And number one, this is very key because it goes with the whole remarketing, retargeting strategy. It's easier to reach people in the moments that matter across all screens with ads that are more relevant to a user's intent and context. So looking at two different separate case studies here, one for a company called Torrendo, a European online retailer, saw a 161% conversion rate increase with RLSA, leading to a 22% overall sales increase. Okay, and the incremental conversions were efficient with a 43% lower average cost per order than previous campaigns. As a matter of fact, I added the link at the bottom for the read more. Another company, World Stores, a leading UK home furnishing and garden store, increased total orders 8%. Bottom line is that if you are going to be doing paid search, remarketing is an add-on. It's not an add-on anymore. It's automatic. It should be a service that you should be already adding in your solution as a standard, right? It's not an add-on or a standalone. It should be a must because it is important, and we've seen that. So just to kind of recap that, what 2016 you should bring. So if you have a prospect that just wants to do PPC, for example, as standard AdWords, and they don't want to focus on uh, on um, remarketing, you got to educate them, and you got to be able to help them understand that remarketing is very, very key in their PPC strategy to get more conversions, to get more value and ROI. Excellent. So wanted to share that with you. Excellent. We'll be moving to the case study now with Bond Brand Loyalty, a company based here out of Toronto, Canada. And definitely kind of in the spirit of what I was sharing with you in the beginning with the race methodology and planning for 2016, it's something that if you are approaching larger size organizations and even smaller organizations, having in mind the creation of a digital marketing blueprint, right? And this is what we did with Bond Brand Loyalty. We actually developed a digital marketing blueprint. And I'll kind of share a little bit of a background on the client. The fact of the matter that they are recognized as probably one of the leading loyalty program services in the world. As a matter of fact, when we did this analysis, they were ranked number 4 in North America, and most likely probably number 1 in Canada. Wanted to kind of uh, uh, one of their biggest issues they had was, how do we get that message across in a new market, right? Now, if you want to learn more about who Bond Brand Loyalty is, I mean, they focus on their clients include Scotiabank, rewards credit card loyalty programs, HSBC, which is another bank rewards credit card loyalty program. Scene Entertainment is, it's a loyalty program that's used whenever you go to the theater to watch movies, etc. And they also have a Ford Professional Performance program. So they have quite a number of loyalty programs uh, uh, they 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 provide to. It's very sizable organization, and they do have a very, very strong position in Canada. But in 2015, 2016, they wanted to focus on growing in the U.S. market, and they actually share with us some areas where they wanted to target. For example, San Francisco, Minneapolis, Chicago, New York. And this company, very large organization, had a very large marketing team with because they deal with already loyalty programs. There's a lot of content creation, so they had their own content team. Quite a number of content writers, very, very skilled content writers, and the director of marketing approached the IC and obviously we worked with the IC in developing this program for them, or this blueprint for them. And one of the areas that they were not happy was the fact that they had already signed up with HubSpot. So they did have an instance of inbound, of HubSpot or inbound marketing. They were doing some top level SEO. They were very, very, aggressive in social media, so they said, and they had done a little bit of media buying and a little bit of PPC, but it hadn't worked, right? These were digital marketing tactics that they weren't happy with the success. And one of the areas the director of marketing felt they needed assistance was the fact that they did not have the in-house expertise and experience to develop an overall complete strategy, right? So they actually requested from us, from WSI, to develop the blueprint, get them up and running, and hopefully they will become more self-sufficient in managing their inbound marketing as well as all of the other different tactics that we were going to deploy for them, right? So they didn't want us to be there, and provide SEO services or just PPC. They actually just wanted us at the beginning to do, digital marketing, right? Sorry, a blueprint, strategy, digital marketing strategy, right? So kind of the case of Bond Brand Loyalty, how did we find them? A little bit of a side note here. They approached the IC via LinkedIn. So again, it was a social selling lead. So to the ICs that are in this call or listening to this webinar and still are not doing any social selling, hey, listen, you got to get into it and put a very, very strong strategy, because you can gain a lot of good followers and people that will begin to read your posts, read your blogs on LinkedIn, and ideally, generate some leads. So in this case, the director of marketing approached the IC, and the conversations began. This was approached via LinkedIn, and you know what? After that, the standard WSI sales process followed. Initial conversation, IBA, uh, you know, uh, definition of scope of work, or proposal, created a proposal review, etc. Presentation. So it was a very standard WSI sales process, but it all originated from a connection in LinkedIn, right? Why did we position, or the digital marketing blueprint? Given that the company had an in-house team with several resources, and they were already digital marketing adapters, we knew that the goal was to help them in strategy development and provide guidance, because they were doing all these tactics pretty much, if you will, what is typical of sometimes companies, throw spaghetti at the wall, right, and see what sticks. And it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes it's better to have a very well sound plan to attack, right, to grow, right? So, and the goal was to work with their in-house team to provide the tactics with a well-rounded plan. So we were going to pretty much use their in-house team as our resources to deploy the plan. So again, going back to our uh, um, lead generation machine, sorry, methodology, the first component is the blueprint, and that's where we kind of follow the methodology to be able to provide a solution. Now, pricing, I will not disclose the pricing that we specifically gave to Bond Brand Loyalty, but we've seen that based on our experience and other ones that we've done over the past year, over probably 12, 14 months, is that the blueprint can start at 5,500 at USD. Now, the blueprint is more for a mid-sized to large enterprise organization, right? Now, like I mentioned in the beginning of this webinar, in 2016, our goal is to develop a blueprint for SMBs, right? So that's to come. We're hoping that by the end of Q1, we can have that ready for the consultant community. So keep an eye on that. But for now, if this, it allows you to approach larger organizations. Sometimes we do get requests from ICs who have contacts from previous previous corporate experience, and they want to connect with a larger organization. So this is the right way of doing it, just providing providing a digital marketing blueprint consultancy, and you can definitely look at the pricing. Now, the cost of the IC is typically about $5,500 US, and it's based on the amount of hours and number of resources that we have to invest in order to provide you with the blueprint. The retail, you can definitely look at $10,000 to $12,000 USD. And if you are looking at a very, very large organization where they have quite a number of business units, so you're actually analyzing multiple business units, you're looking at a much larger opportunity there for the cost and revenue for you as a consultant. Now, taking a little bit of a stronger look at at the digital marketing blueprint, and as I mentioned, we definitely follow the RACE methodology. One of the key things that we did was, obviously, we do an in-depth assessment of their current properties via on-site or virtual meetings, or a combination of both, right? So that's one of the things that we actually do. The first thing that we do is we meet with the client. We try to understand their needs. So it's really a more in-depth assessment of their current web properties, where they're at, what they've done, and we review and assess historical data, right? And that historical data could be, digital, or so online or offline, right? And we assess what they've done. So every client is different, right? Every client is different. We are currently working with a pension fund here in Canada, where their goals were totally different. And as a matter of fact, they were doing very little digital, and we mainly did a lot of our review and assessment, looking at offline activities that they were doing. So more traditional marketing, and different things that they were doing to reach their customer base. Then once we kind of do this whole full review, we develop a first cut of the new strategy, which includes the plan, controls, and desired results in general KPIs. So when you look at this whole overall blueprint, they're getting an in-depth document with, for example, a situation analysis, so an overall top-level state of the nation, if you will, where how marketing specifically from a digital perspective, is key to the organization. Are they are they winning or are they losing, right? Then we look at objective setting, goals, KPI. So these are actionable objectives based on the discovery sessions. Definitely, in this case, the WSI consultant works with us as the, let's say, the account manager, if you will, the person liaising with the client, and obviously our team as the specialists and experts work in getting as much information as possible. Then we have the strategy. Obviously, develop a whole strategy. How are we going to achieve these goals? The tactics. What are we going to use? Not every not every client benefits from paid search, for example, or media buying. Um, or sometimes, we've run into very unique situations where SEO may not work, right? So these are things that we have to kind of look at, and we look at the right tactics, and we go beyond the standard, menu, if you will, of digital marketing services such as SEO, paid search, or social. We look at, like I said, affiliate marketing. We look at media buying. We look at a totally, we even look at specific just link building strategies, right, to develop a very strong SEO authority. So it's not your standard adaptive SEO strategy. It's more of a very custom adaptive SEO strategy at this level, right? Then we have actions and controls, and we have an executive summary. The digital marketing blueprint, again, it's about 3 to 5 hours of just straightforward face interaction, client interfacing consultation, like I said, via phone, email, go-to meetings, whatever it's required. And then we provide them with a 20 plus page document with the above sections detail. Definitely, when they get this. And now I like to, as part of our culture, it's always about, under promising, over delivering. So even when I tell you it's a 20 plus page document, it's not a 20 document. Usually it tends to be a 30, 40 page document. And I can tell you that when clients see the document, they tend to really understand the value of work that in analysis, in-depth, deep dive analysis that has been put into it. It comes with graphs. I'm kind of sharing a little bit here on the table of contents, for example, with the background of the company, where is this bomb brand loyalty stand, their competitors. So we looked in this case at I think it was 4 or 5 competitors: Epsilon, Brierley, EMEA, Kobe, and we kind of looked a little bit. And I'm going to share a couple more screenshots on this. Then we obviously look, key insights, so analyzing competition. Then we follow the race methodology, so you can see that we're very pro race, where we had reach. In this case, we looked at SEO, paid advertising, content syndication, social media, email marketing. We also kind of analyze the other areas of race, act, convert, and engage. Here are some typical snapshots. Please do understand that some of the numbers have changed because of client confidentiality, but just some of the snapshots where, for example, this was a bit more realistic in terms of numbers, but it kind of gave the client, when we just paired everything together in this analysis, just this graph alone, for example, this chart alone, for example, allow the client to just really see where they stood versus the competition. For example, looking at the fact that they only have 349 index pages versus their competition, such as Epsilon and Kobe or Amaya, where they were 2 or 3 times more, right? And so kind of got them to think about, okay, what kind of content should we have in our website? So content is very key, right? We also looked at the fact that their presence on DMONs, their page rank, for example, Alexa rankings were key. The other key thing that we looked at is, number of likes. As I mentioned before, they were doing a lot of they did have a social media strategy in place in the organization, um, but one of the key things that you had to look at was that they only had 5 likes versus their competition, right? So what is it that they were doing on their social media strategy in Facebook that was not working, right? So we looked at Twitter, Google Plus, for example, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So they were more active on YouTube, so they were winning here. So it's not just about showing the negatives or where they're losing; it's also about showing where they were winning, right? So very, very important. Inbound links, for example, again. they only had 300 plus links, while their competitors had more. In this case, all of their competitors have more links than them. So again, very important to take a look at that. On the right hand side here, it's an analysis of pretty much what they were looking at. So here we're looking at, for example, all of the different areas that we wanted to share with them in regards to lead generation. So this was the goal. Again, the numbers have been changed for the purpose of this webinar. And you can look at the fact that you're looking at 12,000 leads. Oh, sorry, 1 second. I'm actually working from home today, my kids, so I apologize for that. Always adding a little bit to the mix, so I do apologize for that. My kids are home, and today I worked from home. But just moving on here, looking at the fact that they wanted to generate a number amount of leads, and we needed to look at the different stats. So basically, you look at the different sources that we looked at. Sources that they had experienced in already, like organic, where they wanted to really increase their organic presence, and they were not, they didn't have a strong SEO authority. They also were looking at content syndication, which is media buying, an area where they saw in our analysis, we found out that their competition were doing. So we kind of broke it down to them to a number of total leads, even to the level of source. Then we looked at their budgets, right? Again, what is the target cost per lead, right? And at the end of the day, you'll notice that, you know what, content syndication and paid search leads were more expensive, but perhaps as we took them through the conversion process, these leads were probably higher quality. So are you willing to pay for a $70 lead, etc.? So we kind of engage in these type of conversations with the client, and ultimately look at the budget, right? Now, again, this is what the ideal was. Okay, it's not what it actually became, because obviously, at the end of the day, it has to be approved. But it gives them a model to review. It gives them something for them to look at, right? So we're going to move on to the next slide, and I will answer your questions after this slide. So definitely have some answers for you. Bond brand loyalty. How do we, uh, how do we end up with this client? Well, just to kind of summarize a couple of things that we did for them. Once we completed the digital marketing blueprint, we've met with the director of marketing and his lead in digital marketing in the digital marketing team. And he actually took this document and presented it to his management team, and obviously was able to push for. His goal was to push for more budgets into digital marketing, and he kind of gave him the blueprint, because he kind of started using in the blueprint. We ran some paid search campaigns, we did some media buying campaigns for them, but again, it's a situation where they will call you more from a consulting and auditing perspective, and every year you can actually not redo the whole strategy, but do a revision of that strategy, right? Okay, so a couple of questions that have come out from ICs as we've developed this blueprint. One of them is, did digital marketing blueprint suggested for individual firm or an industry? What kind of particular client will best fit? So again, this type of a blueprint can be created for any type of firm and industry, right? The key thing is to, when you're in the sales process, is to focus on strategic versus tactical. As I shared in the first article, you know companies do the opposite. They start tactical versus strategy. But if you have a sense that you are working with a very well educated business owner in the essence of marketing, right, with a marketing background even perhaps, or or you're working with a director of marketing with a very strong marketing background, you can definitely relate to them, and they will definitely appreciate the strategy component and understand that. We've been able to definitely work with some ICs on these blueprints with clients that are very appreciative of the strategy, and they understand that that's required. What's the ideal? Who's the ideal client? Someone who's perhaps already spending advertising dollars online, and they're not happy with the results. I mean, this is the ideal. It doesn't mean that a person who's not doing it and wants to do it is also a prospect. If, for example, you're working with an opportunity where the client is going to be, or the prospect is looking at launching a new set of products or a new product into a market, you want to do a bit of a blueprint. It doesn't mean that you're going to spend $10,000, but maybe you do a smaller size of the blueprint. Maybe you do a top level, a more top level analysis, because at the end of the day, it's all about how many hours are spent on it. So, a $5,500 blueprint versus a $15,000 blueprint is totally different, right? There's more deliverables. So that's what it's all about, right? Number of hours and resources allocated to the project to deliver the blueprint, right? And obviously, the level of in-depth comprehension, right? A company who is a believer of digital marketing services and lacks internal resources to manage is also a good, typical, ideal client, right? What are the real benefits to the client for the blueprint? Is strategic direction. That's all about. Many companies spin their wheels. They, the reason they're in, and I'm preaching to the choir here, but the reason they fail is because all they think is tactical. Let's just throw spaghetti at the wall. Let's see what sticks. That's their methodology of marketing, and it fails. It provides them with a complete picture of the results in digital marketing activities, educates the client on new opportunities for online marketing, complete visibility. Very important. You don't want to be like Luke Skywalker, you know, driving a spaceship and not really having any visibility on where things are, where you're at. This gives them a compass, a visibility, a map, a guide of where they are, with established benchmarks and KPIs, which is very, very critical, right? Very important, right? What is the objective? From a sales and marketing perspective, as a consultant, a WSI consultant, one of the key things is that, you know what, once you present the digital marketing blueprint, you can have additional services in the areas of complete consulting, retainer model, right? They retain you for X amount of months or per quarter, to do additional consulting on what they're doing, or at least to the least degree from that perspective, just auditing, right? So in essence, we've seen in some scenarios where the consultant acts as the digital marketing manager, right? We had the opportunity to work with an IC this year where they became so involved in the project and this client, pretty very very sizable project that obviously paid well, and the IC became probably the digital marketing director for about 5-6 months until the IC was able to help them find a proper director, and the IC still stayed on as a consultant, right? Or the second area where you can help them is, kind of a la carte solutions. If they don't want to keep your consulting and they, for example, they don't have the in-house resources to do SEO, well, you can offer adaptive SEO or media buying or manage their whole inbound marketing instance or strategy, right? So it leads to additional services, right? Those are the services that you pitch overall. Excellent. So to kind of finalize in regards to the blueprint, is a very, very key component of any business, and it can definitely be used in 2016 for companies that are very serious about their investment online, right? It doesn't. It's the key thing here is the way you approach the client. You may approach them in the beginning of the engagement, where you begin working and courting them in the sales process, or at least plant the seeds for future opportunities in this area. But don't just start tactical, right? Because sometimes you may have to start tactical, but make your client aware. And I believe that the WSI transit map paints a very beautiful picture about the digital marketing blueprint, right? Because it's a very visual tool that can allow the prospect understand why a blueprint is required. If you have all these different components, you have Google Analytics, you have email marketing, you have your website, you have paid search, you have SEO, social media. There's so many things. Marketing automation is key, something that's going to happen very big in 2016, we believe, and that's why we've put a lot of efforts and resources from our side on being a HubSpot certified production team, but also on a Pardot company or Pardot partner, and now we've actually expanded into services such as Marketo and Eloqua. So we're covering the basis as a production team, so ICs have the resources, right? So whether your clients are looking into marketing automation using HubSpot or inbound marketing, for example, because HubSpot's more of inbound marketing, not really marketing automation, but they're starting with HubSpot and moving to, let's say, marketing automation via Pardot using Salesforce marketing automation tools, or Marketo, or Eloqua. these are opportunities that the ICs have. So we've actually invested in that. I have a few questions just to finalize, and I know that thank you for joining us today, and appreciate that. Um, let's start with the first question that I have here. Is ALM going to also roll out a basic competitor analysis document that's customized for SMBs? Definitely, that's one of the things that we are working in 2016. We already offer a very top level competitor analysis, which is complementary to the consultants. It definitely gives you, specifically for North America, primarily for North America right now, right? Where it gives you top level view of where your client stands from a digital marketing perspective. And definitely you can reach out to Michelle and Amalia in regards to that. Again, it's a top level complementary. It's not an in-depth. Obviously, again, it's resources allocation, but it definitely allows the consultant. It opens the door and it starts a conversation. Right, so very important. So yeah, I know that THO is doing the competitor analysis, and hopefully we'll be able to collaborate with them on that in 2016 to offer to the ICs. But for now, we do have our own that is a complementary one that we provide to the ICs. Okay. We also offer a PPC audit, complimentary PPC audit, top level as well. Another question that we have is, do you prepare this blueprint analysis for countries in Latin America? First question and the second question in Spanish. At this point, no, we do not offer it in Spanish, Maria, but we are working, for example, in Spain with a few ICs where the engagement is a little bit different. We will be providing all the analysis in Spanish, sorry, in English, and the IC will use some of the resources to translate it. So it's a joint partnership that we are testing out right now in Spain. And once we have a real case study, we hope to share it with all of Latin America as well. Now, if there is a consultant out there that gets this opportunity and they're willing to help us with the translation of the document and that process, obviously it's an additional cost that has to be included into it, something that needs to be allocated to this project. We're more than welcome to partner up with an IC also in Latin America. Okay, but just to let you know, we are already working right now because it's not, even though there is a methodology that we follow, such as the RACE methodology, every client is unique. So the numbers, the charts, the graphs, it's not like a cookie cutter a blueprint. It's actually a very customized blueprint. We do follow a pattern, we do follow a methodology, but we try to make it very, 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 very tailored. So we definitely need some assistance from the translating side. Right now, we're not translating into Spanish, but we can definitely work with ICs in Latin America. Okay, and you know what? If there is an organization in Latin America that wants to market into the U.S. and Canada, and because there are some very sizable organizations throughout Latin America that want to break into the U.S. market and the Canadian markets, for example, or even in the U.K., and they want to do it via online marketing, but they don't have a clue of what's happening or how to do it. They need assistance. We can definitely help you there. Via a digital marketing blueprint and work very tightly joint partnership with the consultants. So we are open, but as of now, as a product, we don't have the in-house resources to do all the translation. So we will have to partner up with a consultant, and feel free to reach out again to us, and we can definitely work with you in that sense. Great questions. I hope that. Okay, another one is, can you give an example of an owned media? Owned media would be, for example, your website, right? Your website, your social media properties, those are properties that in essence are owned and branded by you. So those are some of the examples. Your website's primarily the biggest example, because at the end of the day, it's still an ad, right? It's an advertising piece out there in on the internet, online, right? So that's one of them. Okay, Howard, no problem. Yep, I'll definitely send that out in regards to the competitive analysis. I'll send that out to you today myself. And yep, excellent. Thank you for joining us. I don't think I have any other questions, but if you have any other questions, if you want to receive a copy of this of the digital marketing blueprint to kind of have a look at it, we can definitely send you a sample. of how we approach it, along with the company PowerPoint presentation for your use, or at least in PDF format. But definitely, thank you for joining us. I have Michelle here today. I thought, sorry, we went a little bit overboard, but Michelle, hopefully you're still there.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Just wanted to share with them, I guess, the remaining of the month's hours, right? Working hours.
Yes, I will do that. I would want to wish everybody a happy New Year this weekend. And just to let you guys know that we will be working on Thursday, December 31st until 12 p.m. We do close at 12 p.m. We are off on Friday, January 1st. And of course, we resume work on Monday, full effect, Monday, January 4th. So again, Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you for joining us and happy holidays.
Yeah, enjoy your New Year celebration, and all the best for 2016 to you, your families from ALM. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next year.